So it's time to bring out the big guns. It's not a metaphor, guys. Go grab some big guns.
Yep, we've played 20 hours of Destiny 2, and here to give you a spoiler-free verdict on what she's played so far is Louise Blaine.
Hi, JJ.
Hello. So this isn't our definitive Destiny 2 review because we haven't played the whole campaign through to the end.
Nope.
And also we don't have the footage to show you of any of the campaign stuff because we weren't allowed to show it to you for this embargo job.
And also, everyone that's played Destiny for the last 3 years, we all know that Destiny doesn't really start until you've finished Destiny. So what we want to be able to do is, over the next couple of weeks, we want to give people exactly our proper opinion on Destiny. So that's by a Hunter, which is me, and we've got Warlock, which is Dave, and Titan, which is Andy, and we're all going to play solidly. And after that, we'll be able to give our proper definitive thoughts. But what I can say is I played 20 hours. I played quite a chunk of the campaign. I played a couple of strikes. I've done some PvP. So right now, I have some pretty good ideas of exactly what Destiny 2 is.
Yeah, so this is going to be our overall opinion of the game after 20 hours. So let's start off with what you've said in your review is it's basically more of the Destiny you love.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Yeah, it's a really good thing. I mean, they're never going to reinvent the Destiny wheel for Destiny 2, and that's not what people want. But what people do want is they want more of the same, but better. And from what I've played so far, that is everywhere. The campaign that I've played so far was so much better than any of the campaign. Even, you know, they began to get a lot better with things like the Taken King and these little slices of narrative, but now this is far more sweeping. You know, you've got Gaul or Gary who's wants to take the Traveler's light. Guardians don't have any light anymore, and the name of the game is to get it back. And there's this lovely, exciting cinematic story that the nice thing is there's all these characters that you've met before who you know who they are, but they're getting they're not standing in the hall anymore. They're out on adventures and you're finding them and you're helping them, and there's this the drive is far more exciting and far more exhilarating than ever before, and it's really blockbustery and cool, and there's lots of fun, and some of it's a bit silly, and you've already seen Cade with a chicken, right? That's the way Destiny is going because that's the way the fans want it to go, and it's definitely going in that direction, and it's really fun.
So I think by now we've all seen how Destiny 2 starts with the destruction of the tower.
Homecoming.
But for people who are coming in new to Destiny, who haven't played the first one, it still manages to achieve that balance of introducing people to all of the dynamics that they probably don't know about.
Yeah, well, it's actually a really good introduction because it's basically an origin story all over again. So while we've all played 3 years, our vaults are destroyed. That's ditched. No matter if people are destroying them now so that they're not destroyed in the tower tomorrow, that's fine. But this, for new players coming in, this is a place to meet everyone, to get the start of the story, to get, you know, given your weapons, you literally have to get them handed to you again because you don't have anything. So it's a really good introduction. And I think while it might still be overwhelming when you start looking at system stuff that previous Destiny players will kind of know, I think this is a really good fresh jumping off point to teach you how to do everything. And I think it will be a good introduction of, again, that campaign of we are doing this simple thing, we are saving the world. That's a really good jumping off point for people to start in as well.
Okay, so let's talk about what you actually did in that first 20 hours. We've got new things and old things. So we've got public events, lost sectors, and adventure quests, all of that kind of stuff. Let's briefly talk about those things.
So public events we've had before, but you'll find that across the EDZ on Earth, you've got Io, you've got Nessus, and you've got Titan, and all of these planets all come with their own kind of patrol zones, if you think about it. So these are just their open worlds. So you jump in there and they're open worlds that you're sharing with all the other Guardians. Public events, like before, randomise things dropping so that you can unlock chests and get loot. But this time they're labelled on the map, so you know when they're coming. So they're timed, so you can head along to that. Other Guardians can do the same. And, you know, there's Cabal doing excavating, there's people looking for Glimmer, all these things. Basically, you have to stop them, kill them, get the loot. That's the boiled down version of it. But there's two different versions this time around. There's heroic and regular. So there are ways that you can unlock heroic events, which means you get better loot. But that's just one of the parts of it. So you've then got these lost sectors, which are almost like hidden dungeons with bosses at the end of them that you look for graffiti. There's these interesting shapes, and you follow those sort of in down holes or into walls, and you'll find a whole new place to shoot lots of things, and they'll have a boss at the end of it. And again, it's going to unlock more stuff for you. what was the last thing you'd said? Oh, adventures. So adventures are like little mini story chunks. They're kind of separate from the campaign. And on the map, there's a little orange sword, and you go to that. And it's just like a little story clip. And it's nice and self-enclosed. And it's like a little mini campaign adventure.
Like spin-off episodes.
Yes, and it's also going to be a prime place that they're going to fire in DLC. Because that's going to be a great place. They're going to go, hey, 20 new adventures across all of these. So that's going to be a good way of doing like... It's kind of like the standalone comic strips where you don't have to have knowledge of the arc. You can just dive in, and it's really good fun. And all of that is sitting literally on all the planets, so whichever you want to do. And patrols are back, but in a slightly different way. They're not there the whole time, but you have to do a thing to get them. But they're in there, and so are challenges. So you've got challenges for each section as well. So literally, you're never going to run out of anything to do. You're always constantly distracted, running around in these... Did I mention that they were gorgeous? Like, EDZ is amazing. It's all trees and old statues and ruined cities, and it's this really lush, rich world, which initially, in fact, it was really close to the end of the campaign that I actually managed to get, or the end of my bit of the campaign, that I managed to unlock a sparrow. You're mostly doing it on foot, so you're running around hoofing it as a guardian, where previously we've gone, hey, give me a vehicle. And they've kind of built it around that, where it's much more interesting to explore. You're seeing little details. You see little cans of food sitting in half-ruined buildings sitting on tables. So there's all this richness, and that's just in the open world element. So
I think that thing that you touched on there might be interesting to some people, that you don't get a sparrow at the beginning.
No,
like you have to wait for that.
Yeah, I don't think that'll have changed from the build that I played. I actually didn't get one. Other people got one from Bright Engrams. So it comes from Tess in Eververse, so it's no spoiler to say that she's on the farm. But that's going to be interesting. But it does mean that if you pick it up later on, you can obviously go back and do those missions, but with the sparrow, and that'll be a different experience. And they know that we're going to be replaying it so many times, so given the sparrow for the second, third, fourth, and fifth, but do it on foot the first and see what you find.
Now, obviously, the thing with Destiny is a lot of the things that we did at the beginning was repetitive. You have to do the same thing over and over again. So the things that you've done in that 20 hours, did any of it feel like it started to become like a grind?
Not yet, no. In fact, it's going to take a while. Because of all those things in the EDZ, like, I was stacking up things to do all at the same time. And I reached the level cap of 20, but obviously light has now been replaced by power. So power is what you get in your loot. And I was already sitting at, like, I think it was 209 or 219, there's 9 in it, where I was already getting up there. So we don't know what the maximum power level is.
260.
It's 260? We know it's 260. Okay, so I was 40 off it after 20 hours.
Caps at 300 after the raid.
Interesting. So that comes out on the 14th, doesn't it? So that's when the raid lands.
Okay, so loads to do then.
Loads to do, definitely. And you'll always keep looking. And I think the fact is, like, I was playing with other Guardians, but when you're getting with your friends, it's going to become a whole different thing. It's going to become the Destiny that we have been playing for the last 3 years, you know, doing strikes and all these things, which I only really touched upon. It just feels huge.
Okay, well, quickly then, there's no director anymore. That's been replaced with a new destination map.
Yeah, so you've got your destination map, which is great, because if you look at that, you don't need to hover, you don't need to leave to then go back. There's none of that anymore.
You don't go to space anymore.
You do not go to space. No one's in orbit. You're literally always doing something. So across, like, the EDZ and Nessus, you can actually fast travel places. So there's, like, landing points.
Which you have to unlock, or...?
No, they're all there already. So when I started on it, I could have just gone to any landing point, because you can see where the public events are, you can see where the adventures are. It means that you just literally don't have to run for when you don't have that sparrow. It makes a lot more sense. And it tends to be there's a landing point pretty near your contact on that planet, who is the person that you'll be bringing everything to. Like on the EDZ, you've got EDZ tokens, which you're bringing to Devrim K, who will then help you level up. So it's all going to be, running around, take it all back and drop it off. So it's not in the tower anymore, it's just spread across multiple planets.
Alright, so finally, we haven't talked about Crucible yet.
Nope.
Destiny's PvP mode. That's back, obviously, but tweaks now into a 4v4.
Yes, so that was really interesting. I played a few PvP modes. I played Survival, which is the new one, which means you only get given a set number of lives, which is a lot of fun. So literally, you feel the responsibility of your team on you constantly. It's in rounds of best of 5. and you run around and you try and survive. But it becomes this really interesting thing. So obviously you've got power ammo this time around. So you've got 3 weapons, not just that you're flicking between, and the power ammo is your big guns. And there is only when that drops, only one Guardian can pick it up, which means you either go and get it and go, I need to use this. You leave it to someone else, but then there's the possibility that someone might be just watching the power ammo, just waiting for someone to come. So it adds this kind of extra sense of dynamic play to it, where you have to be a little more considered. There's only 4 of you. You have to, I stayed in a group with part of mine, and that really felt good. There was sort of 4 hunters at one point, all pointing different directions and moving around like a little phalanx, which worked really well together. And I imagine that'll work great with, Titans and their new shield, etc. So they can really maximise that. So I think 4v4 is much tighter, much more intense. But obviously we haven't played it in the wild yet. We don't really know how that's going to go. But so far I had a lot of fun with it.
Okay, well, in summary then, after your 20 hours of Destiny, great.
Brilliant.
More of the same.
Gorgeous.
Bigger.
Lovely.
Better.
Yep.
More beautiful.
Oh, it's too good. Really, really lovely. I didn't expect even the little bits on my hunter, like little details on her boots and stuff. It's just taken that extra step where Bungie knows that we're all obsessed with our Guardians, and we're all obsessed with dressing our Guardians, and it's even the little things like the additions of shaders for each different individual thing. So you can put it on your boots, you can put it on your gun, but you do need to think about it because they are consumable. They're a bit like chroma that way, so you're going to have to think about whether you're changing into black, because you're going to ditch all your chroma, your shaders.
Okay. Writing's better, campaign's better.
Fun, great fun. I mean, unless something terrible happens at the end of the campaign I don't know about, but I thoroughly enjoyed the campaign a lot more than I did with any of the other bits, and these certainly weren't bad in the first place.
And there's loads more loot, obviously.
All the loot for miles.
Okay, so a recommendation then after 20 hours.
Absolutely.
So far, so good. Okay, Louise, thanks for that update on Destiny 2. Keep it here on the channel for more Destiny content. We'll have loads of guides. We'll do a full review once we've played it for long enough. We'll look at the raid. We'll give you some tips and tricks. So keep it here on GamesRadar. Click the boxes on the left for more content from us. And don't forget to hit that big button in the middle to subscribe for more gaming news, reviews, previews and features right here on GamesRadar Plus.